going on here?
Okay, not running right.
Actually handles quite well. Counterclockwise, half a turn. Problem solved. Can't distinguish between clockwise and anti-clockwise.
Shit. Oh, geez, stop.
Physically tired I am, like. You know, I thought I was testing the bike, but I think that ride tested me. The one thing that I definitely noticed is the bike's improving. It was quite different a ride this time than the first time. I mean, the throttle response was certainly a lot better. I felt like when I gave it a good boot in the guts, it kind of responded really well.
Definitely a lot more pickup.
And it seemed to, you know, hum along mid-throttle without too many complaints.
Seems reasonably stable. There's no sort of lurching or surging, which is good.
And mentally, like, I felt more relaxed on the bike. I wasn't as concerned, I guess, because I could feel there was changes. I could feel there was a positive step forward, and the confidence and the relaxation were significantly more on that ride, and I really was enjoying it. But having said that, it's still not quite right. There still are a couple of issues that I need to understand, and one of them was the idle hunting. When I was just about to leave the petrol station, I was just the idle was kind of hunting, going up and down. It wasn't stable at all. And the other issue that, you know, I noticed when I was riding towards the hills was the hanging idles.
It's definitely idling too high. Shouldn't be.
I mean, the bike should really sit at about, I don't know, I think 1700, but it was just kind of hovering at 2500. And then randomly it would just drop.
There she goes, and she drops. It's weird, I don't know why.
To identify, there was a bit of the braking issue. As I was coming down the hill there, you know, I had the brakes really clamped down, and she was still just rolling. But I did comment that the rear brakes felt a little spongy.
Rear brakes feel a bit spongy.
To address that, and I have upgraded those brakes, by the way. I've put a slightly larger disc on. I've put steel braided lines on, so could be the brake pads. I don't think I really bought top quality brake pads, but that's something I might look into. I'm a little unsure of some of the causes of some of the current issues. They're still yet to be determined, and I think the biggest thing is trying to understand what are actual bike issues versus what are issues created by some of the modifications, what's rider input, and perhaps some of the setup changes that I've got. I mean, these are the things that I need to understand. And one thing that really caught me off guard was how much difference a full tank of fuel will make. I mean, I rode that thing, the first trip I made in that thing up into the hills, I had it at about 15 litres maybe. Now, having filled it right up to 21 litres, just that extra height of fuel made a massive difference. I mean, I nearly dropped the bike.
Shit. Oh, jeez. It's heavy with the fuel in it.
And even when I pulled up at another set of lights, I was really very consciously aware that if I leant too far, I was really going to take the weight of the bike.
Well, you really just can't lean this bike over too much, honestly.
And obviously, as I rode more, and I was burning up the fuel, I, you know, didn't notice it so much. I guess it became easier. And I probably didn't quite notice it as much. I didn't feel as easy on the bike going up into the hills, but I think I was more focused on what the engine was doing and how the carby was performing to notice as much. But I did mildly notice that there was a slight difference in handling. But that made me think about you know, what's going to happen when I do the camping and the bike's loaded up full of gear. So imagine what's going to happen when I put all the gear on, my camping gear and stuff like that. More weight I'm going to carry and how much more that's going to affect the handling of the bike. Not even to mention going off-road with it. But I think the real learning started once I got off the bitumen and got onto the dirt, and how much the bike actually moves around on the dirt. I mean, it is quite an experience when the whole bike just shifts. There's no, there's no kind of fixed line that you're traveling. The whole bike drifts on the road. Man, I guess that's going to be affected a bit by tyre pressure, but that's essentially, and even the surface changes on the dirt roads. One section was quite hard and compact, but then as soon as I hit the more gravelly sections, it was really just kind of slide into place. And then I think, well, what happens when you get to sand or something like that? So that was quite an experience. And also coming up to corners, oh man, that was freaking me out. The bike was not stable. I really was trying to understand how to go around these corners. How can you properly navigate a corner? Thinking there's a lot of training that I need to do. Maybe even go do some training. I'm pretty sure I've seen some, like adventure bike kind of instruction courses and stuff like that. I may have to seriously consider doing one, just to help me to understand the bike more and how it handles on dirt and how to navigate these things and how to go around corners and work with the bike to do that. The other thing that you can see in the video a little bit is I really veer off to one side towards a tree, and that was a little bit of target fixation. I mean, I'm aware of target fixation, but the key is that, knowing something, understanding something, and then experiencing something. They're all very different, and I wasn't going very fast. It wasn't anything really dangerous. I was probably a little more panicky than anything else, but I really started kind of moving off towards the very spot I was trying to avoid, because I didn't really have confidence in changing that direction so rapidly on that loose surface. I really have a profound respect for these riders that can just throw those bikes around on the dirt. I mean, it's just, I watch a lot of different YouTube channels. One of them's Adam Riemann from Motorology, and just you're watching him just throw that bike through corners, and you think, wow, it just shows the skill and the years of just riding like that, and having a real understanding of what the bike does, and not, not trying to work against it, but working with it. So yeah, I have a profound respect for people that can ride like amazingly like that on dirt road, and I look forward to developing a lot of those skills myself. But look, overall, that was just so much fun. Just for all, even the little moments, the uncertainty, the uneasiness on the dirt, it was just so much fun. Movement around and kind of hanging on to the bike, and obviously being a little bit on edge because I lack some of the skills. When I got home, I could not believe how exhausted I was.
I'm wrecked.
When I get into the hard stuff, I mean, that was just dirt roads and a little bit of, skiing around on the dirt, but it wasn't any single tracks. It wasn't anything really significant. So it kind of made me understand how physically involved adventure bike riding is. I mean, you can hear on other YouTube channels where they're really breathing heavily, and I really understand why. I mean, it's just you're wrestling a machine. But I mean, the Iron Canary is light as shit compared to some of these the middle weights and the heavy weights. This is a lightweight. It's nothing. But I was fatigued, which brought me to the point. I was thinking, a good portion of that is probably being out of shape, and I understand now that fitness is going to be a part of this journey, getting myself in a position where I'm, more conditioned to handle more off-road, because ultimately that's what I want to do. So to make this achievable, it's just another part of this journey, which is okay. I mean, it's going to enable me to ride the harder stuff, which is what I want to build towards. Overall, one of the biggest realizations is how very little I still understand. For all that I've learned and for all that I've experienced, there's still so much to know. And I am really looking forward to broadening that understanding, because it's all part of it, and I'm loving it. It really is such an amazing thing. And, part of me wishes I'd gotten into it a bit sooner, but the other part of me realizes maybe I just wasn't ready for it then. Now I kind of have a better appreciation for motorcycling in general, and I've really identified what parts of it are important to me and what I want to focus on. and adventure bike riding is definitely one of them. So really, I mean, what this means is it means more riding, more skill development, preparing myself for my motorcycle camping, because that's a big part of adventure bike riding for me. I love being in the outdoors, I love camping, I love all of that stuff, so combining these together is an absolute must for me. So, you know, maybe some training could help. Fitness definitely does matter, and I'm really beginning to understand what adventure bike riding actually involves. I'm just going to keep moving forward, keep doing what I'm doing. I'll keep filming it so you can come along for the ride. Just prepare myself for the next step, which coming up is the solo camp. I'm really looking forward to it. I've got the perfect spot in mind. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.